Special program for all of you there. Mhm. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshugavannmelitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prithaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshadarine Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyev Cha Pacitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you. Bhagavad Gita has been a very unique literature in the entire world, which was appreciated by Henry David Thoreau and Emerson and such great writers, or great personalities in India like Dr. Radhakrishnan or Rajagopalachari. Also, next. Also by Gandhi and other great leaders. Many leaders across the globe have appreciated Bhagavad Gita. You all know that. Especially in the recent times, Gita is becoming even more popular. You must have seen in the last 3-4 years, people are talking a lot about the three gunas. You've seen that? Tamaguna, Rajaguna, Sattaguna. And even in dictionaries like Webster's Dictionary, Chambers Dictionary, the word karma has entered already. The whole world is beginning to understand the repercussions and the reactions that come to our every action. So the concepts mentioned in the Gita are very deep and profound and becoming appreciated across the globe. And nowadays, wherever you go, people are eager to know, can you teach me Gita now? Like we have many reading groups of Gita. Many hundreds and thousands of people are joining. Many colleges have instituted Gita as a course inside the college. So today you will learn the essence of the Gita in just 4 sutras. This is the first one. I have given a very simple acronym, Gita, Gita. G for God. We are not all in all. There is a God in control. That is explained in the Gita. Yes, we all are living beings. We are all sentient beings, conscious beings. But we are not running this world alone. When you wake up in the morning and go to the garden, you see the sun shines, the cloud showers, the crops grow, the grains fructify, the flowers blossom, the fruits ripen, seasons change, wind blows. All these things that are happening around us are phenomenon which we watch with our eyes, and we also benefit from them. Not only we are just watching. The sun's warmth is required for my body, and the sun is required to bring the rain shower, and the sun is required to produce chlorophyll in the greenery. Similarly, the water is required for the crops to grow. Again, the sunlight is required for the fruits to ripen. And the moon is required for the fruits to get the 6 type of juices. So in the natural phenomenon, you see, we are immensely benefited by them. We are watching them happen, but we are not controlling them. We are not manipulating or doing anything. I am not moving the sun. I am not moving the moon. I am not blowing the wind. I am not, making the grains and crops grow. So one should think there is some superior intelligence which is governing all these things. So we will discuss about that more. Second is I for identity. this body is not all in all. There is a spirit that exists in this body, which is driving this body. Just like this fan is rotating now. How? Some spirit soul, some living entity has switched on the switch. You will see that in this world, machines surely function very wonderfully, but no machine starts on its own. It's always operated by somebody. The bulb is glowing, but somebody switched it on. You will see that even when you see a drone camera flying, do you think it's flying on its own? Only children will think it's flying on its own. Uh, any sane person knows that there is somebody operating it. Even an automated Tesla car, you know, it has got someone who is automatically operating it. When I was a small kid, like how old is this child? 2 years. 2 years. When I was a 2-year-old boy, my father got a car with a key. He would give the key and then leave it. Like, I'll run behind the car, and I used to wonder how the car is running on its own. When I grew up one more year, now I understood. If a car has to run like this, I have to give the key. So the living spirit has to give the key, then the car can move. No car can move on its own. Machine cannot function without being operated by a living spirit. It is a very fundamental fact, it is. So in the same manner, your body is also a machine, is it not? Like there is an intestine, there is a heart, there's a brain, there's kidney, there's liver, different parts of the body, all are machines. So your heart is doing love, 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 love. Everybody knows that. So at one point of time, it stops. It doesn't do any more. So what makes that heart start pumping blood, and what makes the heart stop pumping blood? What makes the difference between a living body and a dead body? It's worth asking that question. And in Gita, there is a very clear-cut answer. In Gita, Lord Krishna says, this body is only a machine, and you are the resident or the operator of this machine. Just like, for example, you are operator of your car. For example, you have parked your car outside now, and you have come inside now. Can the car go on its own now? Can the car leave you and go to home on its own? It cannot go. Unless you go from here and sit inside the car and switch on, then that means you are actually manipulating the car, you are operating the car. So you are superior to the car, and the car is inferior because that's matter, and you are spirit. There's a big difference between the two. One day, while walking on the road, I saw a big, gigantic hand, like a Rakshasa hand, digging like this sand and putting like this. Again, digging. So as a school boy, I was shocked to seeing that. Such a Rakshasa hand, where is it coming from? I saw the end of the hand, there was a cabin. And inside the cabin was sitting a man pressing a button. And he pressed the button, then only it lifts the sand. What do you call that? It's a JCB, I think. JCB, yeah. So JCB is very huge. But behind that huge JCB, there is a spirit soul who's operating it. You will always see that. Look in the airport also. You find a big Airbus standing, which is going to carry some 1,500 passengers. But it cannot budge an inch for a million years unless a tiny pilot walks into the cockpit and then he starts the plane. It will take off. That means the spirit soul is the one which operates the machine. That's the second point. This body is not all in all. There is a spirit soul which operates it. And in Gita, Lord Krishna says the spirit soul cannot be cut with scissor, cannot be burned by fire, cannot be moistened by water, cannot be dried by air. Just like you say about energy, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. Energy disappearing in one form, reappears in another form without any loss again. You talk about energy. This is spiritual energy, or self-energy, we call it. It doesn't die. When you die, you come out of the body. You don't die. You shed off the bodily machine. Like I'm driving a cycle. Cycle broke down. I throw it and I get a scooter. Later on, when I go to a company, I may leave the scooter and purchase a car or something. Like that. That's the next point. T for transmigration. This one lifetime is not all in all. Many more lifetimes exist. So for this, Lord Krishna explains a very beautiful point. He says that the soul has got two avenues, a mind and a body. The mind for storing the desires and body for executing the desires. Say, for example, uh, say I have a desire to play a piano, for example. That desire is stored in the mind. Later on, when I get money, I go to the market and purchase a piano. Then I play with my hand. So the body is an instrument used for executing the desires, and mind is for storing the desires. As simple as that. So, like for example, you have microprocessor, and you also have a uh, servo motors. Correct, no? The microprocessor, whatever program you write, the servo motors execute that program. For example, I write something in the mind, I have a plan, and my hands and legs execute that accordingly. You can see that. For example, you like some song. As soon as that song is played, your mind immediately loves the song and you start moving the hands and legs accordingly. Yeah? You like it. So, mind and body are connected. Mind stores the desires, body executes desires. But the soul is inside both, which is real you. Just like you are wearing a banyan and a shirt, like that you have a mind and a body. At the time of death, what happens? Lord Krishna says, the soul covered by the mind comes out. And whatever desires are there in the mind, that takes the soul to the next body where the mind can execute the unfulfilled desires. Whatever it could not be fulfilled in this life, you fulfill it in the next life. Just like, say, a boy was returning from the school and he told his mom that now it's 4 o'clock now, I feel very tired. So he washed his hands and legs and then took some snacks and he went to sleep. He told the mom that, please get me up at 6 o'clock. I have to go to a movie. So now the boy was asleep, but the mom didn't wake him. Suddenly the boy saw it was 6:05, 6:10. He jumped from his bed because he wanted to go to a movie. So as soon as he got up, he rubbed his eyes and immediately went to movie because that was the last desire he had before sleeping. So he slept with one desire and he executed the desire after getting up. Same manner, our sleep is a 1 hour sleep. Similarly, death means you sleep in this body and the soul comes out and executes its desire in the next body. It just continues. If you came with 5 desires, in this life it became 50 desires. And out of the 30 desires are executed. So 20 are remaining so that you execute in the next life. You keep going on like that. That is transmigration. So somebody may have a question, why God is putting the soul through so many bodies, one after another? There must be some purpose. Is it happening without any rhyme or reason? Why is it happening like this? Many students ask this question. To put it very simply, we all have originally a divine nature. Uh, that divine nature is in the spiritual plane. But when we fall from that spiritual plane to material plane, the divine nature becomes covered by a mind which has impurities. Those impurities impel us to take on multiple bodies to give shape to those desires. And we can say that just like if you take a marble block, you want a murti out of it. You have to chisel out the unwanted portion, isn't it? Then this beautiful murti comes. Similarly, God is chiseling out our impure desires so that an angel can come out of us. When the full angel comes, you go back to the spiritual plane from where you have come. Right now, we are pure soul plus the impure mind. That's the real problem. So, the goal of life, according to Bhagavad Gita, is to purify the mind and go back to the spiritual plane again. And that's the aim of life, you see. A, this material world is not all in all. There's a spiritual world that exists. That is explained by Lord Krishna in the uh, 15th chapter, 5th and 6th verses, very nicely. So, you can remember this acronym, GITA, Gita. G for I for T for A for. Yeah. So at the end of the session, I will not show this slide. I will ask you, remember all the 4. Let us see. Okay. So now I have elaborated briefly on each of this. Let us discuss a little about science and spirituality. What is the relationship between these three? You know, when we talk about science, the goal of science is to make life more comfortable. That's one of the goals of science. Of course, applied science is technology, and technology, the goal of technology is to simplify your life, make your life more comfortable. In those days, my mother used to use a, stone grinder. Any of you have seen that? Yeah. Yeah. But now, no lady has the strength to do that nowadays. Even we used to have difficulty even moving it also. I don't know how my mother used to do that. I've seen that. Now we just put things in a it's over. Because everything is done by the electricity, isn't it? Huh? In those days, I've seen my mother fanning my father with a hand fan. And after this fan came, there are no more hand fans after that, isn't it? So because people don't have much exercise, then they become like vegetables. Huh? So the goal of science is to reduce your physical strain. Huh? Instead of walking, instead of cycling, I can have a bike or a car, comfortable. That's one of the goals of science, to alleviate our miseries. Huh? Another goal of science is sheer curiosity. Huh? What is the world in which I am living in? You know, what is out there in the different planets? Some people have curiosity for astronomy or physics. You may have curiosity for to know about different things in this world in which you are living in. There is also intention behind why you want to know what is existing around you. Sometimes, for example, if this room is pitch dark, huh, when you come in, you may have little fear. Huh? Because in the darkness, there can be a snake or a scorpion or something. But when the lights are on, there is no more fear. Similarly, science researches on things to eradicate ignorance, huh? So that with knowledge, you can be more confident. That's one goal of science also. Another goal of science is to, manipulate the material world around you to use it to your advantage. Huh? That's one of the, for example, man found dynamite. You can explode the mountains and get the stones and build this kind of tall towers. Huh? Can do that. Or you can manipulate the matter and make a laptop or something like this, or a smartphone. You can use it for such things. So science has multiple goals like this, but in essence, the goal of science is to uh, make your life more happier, comfortable, with less miseries. When you go to medical science, for example, medical science makes an effort to put a full stop to all the sufferings, correct? No? Stop all the diseases. So then what is the relationship between God and peace? Science and peace, I told you. Science wants us to have a peaceful life eventually. Hmm. Actually, people know that when you talk about God, uh, God is the generator, operator, destroyer. One who has created this world, one who maintains it, one who destroys it. He must be all good person. And uh, approaching him will bring about peace. Why people go to the temple? We call the temple as a mandir, correct? No? Man means mind. Mandir means where you go to calm your mind. Although you go with your body, you don't call it tandir. You call it mandir. Why? Because the purpose is to purify your mind and calm your mind. Hmm? Yeah. So what's your good name, sir? Gunjan. So for Mr. Gunjan, who can tell Mr. Gunjan and Mataji the 4 sutras of Gita? Any of you can raise a hand. All the 4 Gita, I told. You can say one of it, okay? Yes, G. So I was just till now I was summarizing the Gita in 4 sutras, Gita. So G for God. That means we are not all in all. There is a God in control. That was the first point. And I, second part, anybody else? Yes. Identity. So what did I say about identity? The body is not all in all, what you see in the mirror. But there is a spirit soul that is operating this body. Exactly like a driver operates a car. Second thing we did. And third one, chief, yeah, transmigration. So who can say what I said about transmigration? Briefly, anybody? Yeah, this one life is not all in all. There are many more lifetimes exist, which means a small boy drives a tricycle. When he grows up, he leaves it and gets a bicycle. When he goes to a college, he gets a bike. When he goes to a company, he gets a car. Later on, he becomes a billionaire, he gets a chartered plane. So, in this way, you see, he keeps moving from one vehicle to another. Similarly, the soul also moves from one body to another. And what was the reason I told you why the soul is moving from body to body? Is there any reason for that? He has many unfulfilled desires stored in the mind, and at the time of death, the mind and the soul they come out, and then the mind and the soul they go into fit into your body where it can fulfill the unfulfilled desires. That's one reason I said. And anything else you remember? A is aim of life. And what is the aim of life? Uh, this material world is not all in all. There is a spiritual world. The spiritual world, there is no suffering. It's called Vaikuntha. Material world is called Kuntha. Here there is a Sukh Dukh, Manapaman. There is only everlasting happiness. But we have fallen from that position to this position. And therefore, around the divine soul, there is a mind covering, like a microprocessor. And in the microprocessor, whatever program you write, the servo motors move accordingly. Similarly, whatever good or bad program I write in the mind, my hands, legs move in such a direction accordingly. So if my hands, legs do right thing, I get good karma. If my hands, legs do wrong things, then I get bad karma. So that's based on what program I write in my mind. So the mind is the one which is carrying pure and impure impressions called sanskaras. So the aim of life is to cleanse the mind, purify the mind, and uplift the mind to make it completely divine in such a way that the soul returns back to his original status. So in this way, in Gita, many nice things are said. 4 things you all have captured well now. And here we are talking about the relationship between science, God, and peace. Selling that the goal of science is ultimately to lead a peaceful life and comfortable life and happy life, or to know the world around us to manipulate it to our advantage. And the purpose of God, why do people have churches, mosques, and temples? People know that God is supremely benevolent personality. You know, you will see in His creation, everything is selfless. Sun is giving you sunlight. You can capture it with a solar panel and turn it into electricity, but sun will not ask charges from you. Correct, no? Isn't it? The clouds give you pure waters, but there is no charge like you have to pay for Bisleri bottle. Yeah. Similarly, you see the cow gives milk, the mango trees give you mango, the river gives you water, earth gives you grains. None of them charge you. Some man comes in between and says, give me charges now. Huh? But in God's creation, nobody charges you anything. So that goes to show God gives and forgives. We get and forget, as it is said. So therefore, God is also just like any of you sitting here. If your mother feeds you something to eat, you can close your eyes and eat it. You will not have any doubt. But if you're buying something in a train or in a hotel, you will definitely want to test it twice before putting in the mouth. Correct, no? Why? Because mother actually wants to see you nourished. Whereas the vendors may sell something to, you know, get money from your pocket. So they are looking at your pocket, mother is looking at your heart. Isn't it? Similarly, God is actually the supreme object of everyone's love. And your mother's love, father's love is actually a representative of his love for us. So then ultimately, God also is aiming at peace. Science is also aiming at peace. So, what is the relation between science and God that we will see now? See, God is all powerful, present everywhere. He knows all, He knows about everyone's life. Science strives to know the universe, to reduce suffering and increase happiness. So, Einstein made the statement science without religion is lame, and religion without science is blind, which means he says if somebody is doing some kind of religion without a logical, scientific understanding, that is called blind following. But if people are only focusing on science alone, with no meaning about the purpose of life, meaning of life, goal of life, then such a scientific knowledge is lame because it is mechanistic science. With mechanistic science, for example, I give you a gulab jamun and ask you, you are a mechanistic scientist. All you can do is to say what is the size of the gulab jamun ball, what is its porosity, what is the viscosity of the of the liquids in which it is floating. All that you can say, but you can't tell me exactly what a gulab jamun is. If I really want to know it, I have to just pop one in my mouth and I will know what it is. Gulab jamun. That experience cannot come to a robo. Robo cannot tell you the smell of a flower. Robo cannot tell you the beauty of a drawing. Robot cannot tell you the sweetness of a song. Robot cannot tell you the taste of gulab jamun. These things, unless you program it. If you tell the robot, tell this, then it can tell you. And you tell the robot, move your eyebrows, because these are the, you have programmed it, then it will move the eyebrows, smiling, everything robot can do, whatever you have programmed it. That's all. You know, otherwise, even the latest of the AI robots made, you can give Sophia, whatever name you want to call it. But they are nothing more than machines. They don't have any awareness or consciousness. Like you see, I have an alarm clock with me, mobile. In the mobile, I put alarm clock. Morning, I have to get up at 3 o'clock. So 2:50, I got up. And I went to the washroom. I was taking bath. Halfway in my bath, it started ringing. Making sounds. And many other bhaktas are sleeping in the room. I was telling the mobile, shut up, I am already up. I am already in the bathroom for which you are calling me. But he is not listening because machine is a machine. There's no spirit. Imagine if I told my assistant, get me up at 3. So he will look at my bed at 3 o'clock and sees my bed empty. Then he will go to sleep peacefully. He knows very well, this fellow is already up. He has that sense. That is what is the body with a spirit. A body with a spirit and a dead machine. There's a very big difference. See, theology means a science which treats the facts and phenomena of religion. It's called theology. Who is a theologian? One who is learned in the science of religion. See, here is an interesting statement by Louis Pasteur. He says, a little science estranges man from God, but much science leads them back to him, he says. Something similar, even Leonardo da Vinci said. There are also other, like the famous physicist, Schrodinger also has made similar statements. See, here is a Vedic theologian means one who knows the science of God by hearing from a tradition of acharyas. Now, in today's session, I am going to talk about the knowledge that we receive in Parampara from Lord Krishna. And to accept it or not is your personal choice. You can read Bhagavad Gita if you are interested more. But why we should accept this knowledge in this tradition, I will tell you. There are 10 ways to gain knowledge. That's another very big subject matter, like Aitihya, Pratyaksha, Anumana, Shabda. Like that, there is a Arsha Bodha. Like that, there are 10 different ways to see the truth. For example, I'll tell you one example, I'll tell you for Anumana. Whenever you start fire in a chula with a firewood, there is fire, along with that, there is smoke also. So somebody concludes, wherever there is smoke, there must be fire. You conclude like that. Now you're seeing smoke on a hilltop. So you may say, there is fire on hilltop. Somebody says, why? Because there is smoke. Now the smoke need not be necessarily from fire, because if somebody put off the fire by throwing water, that can also give smoke. That means my observation can be erratic. Or above the mountain, there can be clouds which are touching the mountain. They may look like smoke. That's not smoke at all. So that's called Anumana. Similarly, Pratyaksha, what is it? You put a pencil in water, it looks broken to my naked eyes, but it is not broken. The railway line appears to be converging. It's never converging. So neither the Pratyaksha nor Anumana gives any perfect knowledge. The Shabda Praman, what we talk about, it's a knowledge which is coming in the Vedas. The Vedas are always given by Shabda Praman, means word. Guru speaks to disciple, disciple speaks to his disciple. It comes down in the line. And the Vedas claim that this knowledge is impeccable, indefeatable. It has stood the test of time. Well, I'll tell you one example. Millions of years ago, the Vedas said that plants have life. There are 2 words used in Sanskrit all over the Vedic literature, chara and achara. Chara means moving, achara means non-moving. So the plants and trees are non-moving living beings, like that the Vedas say. But from scientific viewpoint, they thought the plants have no life until 1903, when Jagdish Chandra Bose conducted some experiments to prove that plants also have life. But Vedas said it millions of years ago. You can see that. In the same manner, modern day, researchers are greatly amazed to see. The Vedas talk about when a man and woman unite, the semen flows from man's body into woman's womb. It breaks an egg and it emulsifies, and then 9 holes are formed in that plum. And then how the head comes out, hands, which month, which part of the child is developed in the womb. It's all precisely mentioned in the Bhagavatam. Now we have the Cunningham textbook of anatomy. You compare this modern day book with what the Bhagavatam is saying millions of years ago, it's exactly matching. So now the modern people are wondering how such ancient literature is carrying precise information which is provable only with the modern day equipments. So I gave you a couple of examples, one of the plant and one of the Vedic embryology. We can give innumerable examples like that. So therefore, our faith in the Vedas or the Vedic knowledge is based on not one or two facts. There are innumerable facts given in the Vedas which are becoming more and more proven. For example, now all over the world people are taking to yogasanas nowadays, correct? No? Pranayama, yogasanas, Vastu Shastra. People are adopting, vegetarianism now in a very large scale way all over the world. People are now and understanding more deeper knowledge about the consciousness and positive vibrations, impressions, and that. So science can be used to study spiritual truths. For example, University of West Virginia, there is one Dr. Ian Stevenson. He used many, many experiments to test the reincarnation studies. He got a doctorate thesis also. He published more than 3,000 reincarnation case studies across the globe. Science is being used for out-of-body experience, near-death experience, many such things like that. And even you can put many plugs in the body of a meditator and you can study what happens during the meditation. Nowadays, many experiments are being done. Alpha, beta, theta, different brain wave function during the meditation. How people are feeling calmness in the mind. So these things are becoming published nowadays. And spirituality can be studied scientifically, which means whatever we are talking with you, you have the freedom to ask questions. Like today, I was telling you about how a spirit is required to operate a machine. Otherwise, no machine can function on its own. What is thermodynamics law 1? PMM, correct? No? Perpetual motion machine. Is it a hypothetical machine or a real machine? What do you say? Perpetual motion machine, which means the machine which keeps on going on and on. That is simply a hypothetical machine. There is no real machine like that. It's just a hypothesis. It's not possible. There is no machine which goes on its own. Even if somebody thinks the sun is going on, expanding the heat because of nuclear fission, nuclear fusion, if you say, the question can be asked, who bombarded the first neutron, 1 and 0? Isn't it? You can ask the question. Because that is God. If God has to bombard the first neutron, then the chain reaction can start. So nothing in this world runs on its own. So why am I telling you this? Whatever truths we will explain to you, it will be explained very logically. That's how Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna explains also, which means spirituality can be explained scientifically and logically. For example, in science you have theory and experiment. So in the morning half of the day, you sit in the classroom and you hear the theory from the professors. And afternoon, you go to the lab and perform experiments to understand the same thing, what you did in the morning. Similarly, in spirituality, you find philosophy is what you study in the Bhagavad Gita, Puranas, Upanishads, Vedas, Vedanta. You study and understand them or hear from a guru. Then you also do religion. What is religion? Religion is rituals. For example, we have this japa beads in which we chant, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So by chanting, the mind is cleansed. So that is theory. But when you keep doing this, then one will experience the practical. So this is practical application. Similarly, bowing down to the Lord and also singing the songs, bhajans, playing instruments, doing the worship, reciting shlokas, these are all religion, practical. So just as science has theory and experiment, spirituality also has philosophy and religion. So Srila Prabhupada said, If there's only philosophy without religion, it is simply speculation. There are many people who speak theoretical religion, they don't do anything practical. Then you cannot have any understanding. Similarly, uh, if one doesn't talk about philosophy, religion without philosophy becomes sentimentalism or at worst becomes fanaticism. Correct, no? That means if somebody logically and scientifically and systematically doesn't present spirituality, then it becomes simply blind following. So both are condemned, which means you need a combination of both, philosophy and religion, both. So God conscience can be studied scientifically with cause and effect, both through theory and practice. So I'll show you one small video.
The film you are about to see has no characters.
Powder on the top of the plate. And when he plays in the harmonium, if he plays melodious sounds, the rice powder will form patterns, very beautiful pattern. And when he plays bass guitar or drums at 120 decibels, then it will show tremendous disturbance, agitation. I'll show you.
If you spare a little of your imagination. It is a film to describe to you the effect of cymatic frequencies on matter.
The form, now. Now you will play the very high decibel sound. Now this will be agitated, you see. Bending. See, most of your body is made up of what? Most of your body is made up of water. That means when you hear 120, 130 decibel sound, your body will twist like this, you see. I think that's why they do break dances, I think, when they hear such sounds. Actually, according to doctors, it causes biological cycle to be, rhythm to be disturbed. This kind of heavy, metallic music. On the other hand, you hear soft music, classical music. It forms patterns in your brain, which is very soothing and calming. After hearing a calm music, you feel relieved, you feel cheerful.
Sound vibrations in literary form and carry a profound message. Spiritual disciplines recommend meditational practices such as silent meditation, silent recitation of mantras, and also the verbal repetition of specific mantras out loud. A clinical test of the benefits of mantra chanting was performed on 3 groups of 62 subjects, males and females of average age 25. They chanted the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra 25 minutes each day under strict clinical supervision. Results showed that regular chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra reduces stress and depression and helps reduce bad habits and addictions. These results formed a PhD thesis at Florida State University.
Correct? Now I told you about this. So these are nowadays many research theses are coming out, uh, which means the outcome is being shown scientifically nowadays. So when you talk about G for God, the first thing I told you, there are various ways to understand the existence of a supreme. I'll very briefly tell you about each of this. First one, ontological uh, proof for his existence says that the very fact that we are existing and everything is existing in this universe, uh, that God, when you talk about him, it is prior to and independent of our experience. You don't have to experience. Ontological means even much before you, God is existing. Because he exists, we exist. The very fact that you exist, so you don't have the ability to comprehend him. That's the very first thing. Second thing, analogical approach means you will see that there are plural subordinates serving singular supreme, and the singular supreme nourishes plural subordinates. For example, in a country, all of us pay tax to the prime minister of the country, and prime minister in turn nourishes the citizens of a country. In your body, you see all the parts of your body are serving the belly, and the belly turns the food into blood, and then through the heart nourishes all the parts of the body. That means the parts serve the whole serves the parts. The whole nourishes the parts. In a family, the children obey the parents, and the parents nourish the children. In a school, all the children they obey the principal, and the principal arranges for the degree or whatever. You will see that. That is called as henological approach, which means there is a singular supreme ruling over plural subordinates. Millions of living beings are seen in this world. And what do you call nature as? Is nature mother or father nature? What do you call it? Why you call nature as mother nature? Anybody can say? Why do you call nature as mother nature and not father nature? Yeah? Yeah? Yeah. But we call it mother nature. See, from the earth only comes all the grains, fruits, cereals, plants, which we eat, isn't it? Because she is producing. So, like children are produced from the womb of a mother, not from father. From produced from the womb of a mother. So, from the womb of the earth, all these eatables are coming, which you are consuming. So, because she is producing, she is called mother. Now, if a mother is sitting with her child, like here there are many mothers sitting with their children. As soon as you see a mother with a child, you can immediately say that there should be a father. That is guaranteed. No mother can say without any father, the child has come on its own. Nobody can say that. There's a father. Similarly, in this earth is you see the nature, and we are all children. So earth, mother is there and children are there. There must be some father. Why father must be there? Because the father gives a seed. And the mother develops the seed and produces further. Correct, no? Similarly, if nature is there, nature, like if I put one mango seed in the ground, it can produce a tree with thousands of mangoes. Correct, no? No? You can produce thousands of mangoes. But for 1,000 mangoes to come, what is the first thing you need? One mango seed. And Krishna says 14.4 in Gita, Aham bija pradaha pita. I am the seed giving father. So God is the father, nature is mother, we are the children. So in this way, the analogical approach talks about unity between parts and whole. Third one, cosmological, what it talks about. Think about it. How many of you have seen your grandfather's father? You have seen. Anybody has seen grandfather's father? No. There are some people who have seen, especially in families where they do the marriage early. Sometimes a girl is married at 14 or 15 only. And then in such families, you will see grandfather's father, some people have seen. But even if you didn't see him, how many of you know that he existed? Is there any doubt? You know for sure he existed. And then you go up. Your grandfather's grandfather, like my name was Ramakrishnan Venkatraman. My father's name was Venkatraman. My father's father's name was Ramakrishnan again. Then I came to know from my father, my grandfather's grandfather's name was also Ramakrishnan. Because they give grandfather's name, you know that? Yeah. But I came to know from my father because the records are there. So if you go up like this, father of father of father of father of father, ultimately if you see, the father of all the fathers in your family, should it be a stone chunk or a living person? What do you think? Okay, how many of you feel the source of all the fathers in your family must be somebody living? You can raise your hand. Okay. How many of you think maybe it could be a stone also? Anybody? That is this cosmological approach. Cosmological approach says that the cause of all causes is ultimately a living, sentient personality. It is not just a stone chunk. Hmm. There has never been a time when man can produce a living form from matter. You cannot show. Even the cloning you do, you have to go to two living bodies. Hmm. From a female's cell, you know you take the nucleus, and similarly from male body, then you combine this and put it in the surrogate mother's womb, and all that you do. You can only produce a baby from a living body, not from dead matter. You cannot take a dead table or something and then you take one cell and then produce a living body. You cannot do that. Huh? Life always comes from life. There's no one Dawkins in 19th century. He wrote a book about life arising from matter. But in that book beginning only he wrote, please read this book like a sci-fi book. Huh? He said it is a very good fiction book because I am just speculating uh, different things in this book. He said. So therefore, the cosmological approach talks about when you go to the source of all cause of all causes, there is one supreme. And the teleological approach is about design. For example, when you take food in your hand, you know, I'm sure that every one of you, before it goes into your mouth, you definitely look at it. Correct, no? What you're putting. You are eating a laddu. Imagine if there are ants on the laddu. You can't eat it, isn't it? So you have to see it first. Then you have to also make sure that the laddu is not old, stale. So for that, what do? You have to smell it also, isn't it? And then you put it in the mouth, then you crush it with the teeth, and then you taste it with the tongue. Correct? And then you take it inside. So now imagine if your eyes were here, and nose was in the belly, and mouth was behind. You have to show to the eyes, then smell it in the belly, and then give it like this. Correct? But what a wonderful design, all three in one place here. You see it, smell it, and put it here. Is it not a design? It's a beautiful design, huh? Natural design. Another design in your body you can see. Look at this eyebrows. It doesn't grow beyond this. Whereas look at your hair. That grows, long. Why you can beautify the hair? For men there are more than 24 hairstyles, correct? No? Disco style, this style, this. Similarly, women also, they have different hairstyles. So that you can beautify your body. Now imagine if all the hair in your body grows at the same rate, then this will block your eyes like this. If you call me, Prabhuji, I have to take out. Who is that? Isn't it? So there is a design, surely. Somebody may say there are some enzymes here. Okay, there are enzymes, but you didn't put the enzymes. The God, when He created the body, has put the enzymes and kept here, so it doesn't grow beyond this, so that it doesn't block your vision. Whereas this grows and this doesn't grow. It's a design. It's a high class design. It is. In the same manner, you can see. uh, you put your body upside down in Shirsasan. Shirsasan, correct? No, head down and now you suck your saliva. It goes up. It doesn't go into your nose or something. It doesn't go. The body design is super precise. Every limb of the body, it's like a big factory going on in this body. Therefore, even Darwin, he wondered, he said, even one part of the body is so highly complex. But he said, more complex than that is all the parts are working in coordination with one another. That is even more complex. And they precisely do the right thing at the right time. So, theological approach is all about design.
Around 1200 AD, a man named Leonardo, better known as Fibonacci, discovered a sequence of numbers that created a very interesting pattern. The sequence begins with the numbers 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, and continues indefinitely. Each number is obtained by adding the last two digits together. A rectangle with a length and width of any two of the numbers of this sequence forms what is known as the golden rectangle, a perfect rectangle. A golden rectangle can be broken down into squares the size of the next Fibonacci numbers down and below. If we were to take a perfect or golden rectangle, break it down into smaller squares based on Fibonacci's sequence, and divide each with an arc, the patterns begin to take shape. We begin to see Fibonacci's spiral. The spiral in and of itself is insignificant. Its importance is revealed in where we find it. Take, for example, the sunflower. The display of its florets are in perfect spirals of 55, 34, and 21, the sequence of Fibonacci. The fruitlets of the pineapple create the same spiral based on the sequence. The pine cone does the same. As currents move through the ocean and the tide rolls onto the shore, the waves that bring in the tide curve into a spiral that can be mathematically diagrammed onto a plot at the points 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, and 55. Buds on trees, sand dollars, starfish, petals on flowers, and especially the nautilus shell are formed with this exact same blueprint. With each segment of growth, the nautilus adds to itself one more value on Fibonacci's scale. This blueprint can be seen around us on a small scale every day, but the greatest example of all is directly above our heads. At an average of 100,000 light years across, even the spiral of the galaxies above us are formed with the exact design that the tiny shell is formed. This sequence or blueprint appears to be the trademark of a designer, a proof of a creator, something left behind indicating the one who was there, a fingerprint. As we scan our universe from the tiny flower to the awe-inspiring galaxy, we see the fingerprint of God.
You understand now? You can see Fibonacci's how that is about design, teleological approach. You may be aware, one fellow wrote God Delusion some time ago, a book where everybody thought, oh, he has disproved God. What did he say in that book? Essentially, he says that, there are many laws in this world. Immediately don't arrive at a wrong conclusion, there must be a lawmaker. He said there may be some subtler material laws which are governing these laws, which we may not be aware of. So why do you bring in God, somebody mystical? Like that he wrote that book. After he finished that book, another fellow wrote, oh, you are writing God Delusion? The fellow Dawkins wrote the book God Delusion. So he wrote Dawkins Delusion, another book, and he defeated all his points. So actually, now in the teleological approach was at one time uh, challenged by some scientists and again now brought back now. Now it has come out in a much, much bigger way now. All across the globe, the nature's IQ is a very big subject. You can do more research on that yourself. You see, science discovers spirituality, scientific proof of existence of soul. The studies in consciousness, more than 25 universities are offering MS in consciousness studies nowadays. Out-of-body experiences and past life memories. These are all a big study now. Body-mind studies nowadays. Similarly, science discovers spirituality also. Health benefits of meditation, yoga, efficacy of Ayurveda, Vastu Shastra, Vedic maths, many other things also. Like, for example, NASA is studying metallurgy from the Vedas. Why? Because they're curious to know how the Saranath pillar is standing for so long without getting rusted. What is the similarly high strength to weight ratio? They want to know. In World War II, they were very much wanting metals which are having high strength to weight ratio, isn't it? So they referred to Vedas and they found out. That's why there is a very big research team researching in that. So science points to spirituality also. On micro level you go, still there is order. What kind of amazing order is there in this cosmos? Huh? So this is Einstein. The more he studies science, the more he believe in God. Many such statements he made. I believe in God who reveals himself in the orderly harmony of the universe, he said. Mm. So are we from the Big Bang? Or there is a person beyond? Therefore, the cosmological proof talks about a living entity who is a supreme living entity. Let us see what Lord Krishna says in the Gita. You all can see that shloka. Bhumirapo analo vayuhu ham mano buddhirev cha ahankara iti yamme भिन्ना प्रकृतिरष्टधा. My dear Arjun, this world consisting of 8 elements, he says, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego. All these 8 elements are my creations and they belong to me, he says. Pinna me, me means mine. I have created this world with all its details, he says. Yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam Shrimat urjitame bhava tat tat evavagachatvam mama tejomsha sambhavam. Here he says, all that is beautiful and glorious creations, they all spring from a spark of my splendor, he says, which means in this world everything has some essence. Like the bulb, the essence of the bulb is to give light. Essence of the fan is to give wind, air to us, isn't it? Similarly, essence of a rose is its fragrance. Essence of a mango is its taste, isn't it? Similarly, Lord Krishna says, in this world, every object, whatever essence it has, that essence is me, he says. It's God only who has filled that essence. Earlier he told, I am the cause of everything. Now he is saying, I am the essence of everything. Like here you see, the peacock is dancing beautifully. That beauty of the peacock dance comes from Krishna. Similarly, he says, I enter all the universes by my energy and maintaining them in their orbits. So he's saying, Balam, Balavatam Chaham. I am the strength of the strong people. He says, Buddhir, Buddhimatam Asmi. I am the intelligence of the intelligent fellows. Now here is a genius of the century, Einstein. Did he create his own brain? No, God gave him the brain. So Krishna says, I am the giver of brain to the intelligent people. Or the Newton is sitting under an apple tree and apple is falling on his head, you see. Immediately looked up. Why is it coming down? Why is it not going up? So he had that intelligence to ask the question. So he says, I am the intelligence of the intelligent. So Krishna says, I am the essence of all this. I am the taste of water. Like you're eating mango juice, and you love the mango juice because that's the essence of the mango. Similarly, he says that all this nature is functioning by my glance, by my order. Like you see when you look at a lotus or a rose with all its details, try to think about taking some paper and coloring it in rose and then cutting it with a scissor and then designing a lotus or a rose. You can try to make it look like what you're seeing in the picture here. You may be able to do it. But think about it. Even for making that rose, you need some brain on artistry. Correct, no? Plus, the paper rose we make, it doesn't have the tenderness of the real rose or the lotus. Plus, it doesn't have the fragrance. It doesn't have the details. Correct, no? So you can imagine if a paper rose is so difficult to make, how much more the real roses are difficult to make. And there are not 1 or 2 millions of roses are coming, millions of flowers, like the rain shower. The varieties of fruits, which is juices, 6 types of juices: salt, sour, uh, pungent, astringent, sweet, and bitter. 6 types of juices are coming. So all these edible fruits, what you are seeing here, these are all creations So I am the source of light of the moon, he says. With my moonlight, I'm filling up the 6 type of juices. Nowadays, people plug the fruits prematurely and they put smoke and sell it, so there is no taste. But I have personal experience. When I was living in a farm, I ate some papaya and then I threw the seeds out of the window. In next 2 weeks, another big papaya tree came up. When I took that papaya, which is directly under the moonlight, and nobody to pluck it. So I plugged it, cut it, and offered and took it. It was so delicious, like reddish. So he says, I supply the juices to the fruits. Similarly, all the things in the creation are very expertly and precisely going. Earth is revolving around the sun in 365.256 days, up to the third decimal, so precisely. You can set your clock against the movement of the earth. So, you need a microscope to see microscopic level objects. You need a telescope to see faraway objects. You need 3D goggles to see 3D movies, isn't it? Similarly, you need a photographic plate to see the X-rays. Otherwise, you can't see X-rays with your naked eyes. Similarly, you need the eyes of love to see Krishna. That is said by Brahmaji. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santas sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti. He's saying in this world, people have eyes of exploitation and manipulation. So, like some children in a school were asked, what do you see in the currency note? Do you know who is the person in the currency note? They said, we never saw it. We only saw the number of the currency, 100 rupee or 200 rupee. And then they all looked at the currency note. Then they found there was one Gandhi with the spectacles. Correct, no? And why they didn't see Gandhi? Because people are concerned about how to enjoy this rupee note. So you don't see the... Similarly, when you look at the nature, you don't see God. We only see how can I enjoy this. Bhogabrati, you call it. So we don't see God. But when you look at the nature with eyes of love, like what our William Wordsworth, when he went to the garden, he said, millions of daffodils I saw, millions of daffodils. He wrote a poem. So you will see the beauty of God and His hand in the nature when you see. Okay, that was about God. Now this will go pretty fast. The body is not all in all, soul exists. Already I told you something about this. If somebody asks you, who are you? Naturally, all of you will tell you a name, isn't it? This is my name, or whatever. Here is Dr. Harry Monson from Illinois College of Medicine. He says, these are the things in your body. 5 pounds of calcium, and phosphate, and potassium, and sulfur, and sodium, magnesium, iron, copper, and iodine. Now ask yourself, are you these things? And he says the cost is only 110 rupees only, INR. This is the value of every body, he's saying. Looking very humiliating, isn't it? Are you this stuff with magnesium and potassium and calcium? Imagine if I call one of you, Mr. Potassium, come here. You'll feel offended. You're not a chemical bundle, are you? You're much more than that. Then who are you? What's your real identity? This is one famous actress from South India, Sridevi. So later on, she became a Bollywood actress also. Recently, a few years ago, she passed away when she went to Gulf countries. After she passed away, she looked like this. You see, the chemicals are same, no feelings, no thinking, no movement, no desires, no consciousness. Shankaracharya sang in one poem, Yavat pavano nivasati dehe, tavat prichati kushalam gehe, gatavati vayu deha paye, bharyam bibhyati tasmin kaye, bhaja govindam. You know what he says? As long as you are alive in this body, people will come and ask you, how do you do? And you may say, I am fine. But once the body is dead, even the relatives will feed the body into fire. Even the very dear relatives, they will feed the body into fire or they'll bury the body or whatever. Nobody keeps the body at home anymore. Why? Why so? Because imagine you're sitting in a bus or some man is sitting in the bus, you are walking. By mistake, you hit him like this. Immediately you shouted, hey, why did you hit me like this? You've seen people shouting? On the other hand, when a man is dead, his dead body is lying, you kick on his face, he'll keep quiet. There is no response because what has left? Soul has left the body. Once the soul leaves the body is simply useless, like garbage, that's all. It's fed in the fire. Like if I bring and carry back gulab jamun from the market, once I keep the gulab jamun in a plate, what happens to carry bag? It goes to dustbin straight. Huh? Because carry bag is useful only as long as it carries gulab jamun. After that, it has no value. Similarly, body is a carry bag for the soul. Huh? Like a TV is carried by thermocol. Thermocol is valuable only if it's protecting TV. Once the TV is kept, after thermocol, you throw it in the dustbin. Huh? Body is like that. So that's why whether it is Sridevi or Bhudevi, whoever it is, huh? You know, this is all material bodies. Huh? They are not Lakshmis in the spiritual world. Lakshmi in the spiritual world or Lord Narayana, their bodies are spiritual. In this material world, the soul is covered by this material bodily machine, which is most beautiful actors and actresses, their body gets wrinkles. The jet black hair becomes white hair. The teeth falls off one by one. Many people may not want to be photographed after they get very old. They say, let people remember the old nice memories. They may say. So here you see the picture here. A person gets older and older and he dies and then he takes another body. That's called transmigration. For the soul, there is neither birth nor death, Arjun. Krishna says. Material outlook, people think, oh, my body is made of flesh and bones, people think. It's all a chemical bundle. But spiritual perspective gives you the correct perspective of the Gita. We are spirit soul encaged in the material body. But the body may appear to be dead, but the soul never dies. Even when the body stops to function, the soul leaves the body and goes to the next body. Okay, there are three main differences between a living body and a robo. This is very important for you to know because AI is advancing very rapidly. And nowadays, when I was in Boston, Massachusetts recently, they were saying America is seriously considering making soldier robots so that they can send the robots to war and there need not be any human beings having to participate in the wars in future. Because human beings need not be harmed in the war. We will just send many, many thousands and thousands of robots out. So they have made all the movements now, the finger movements, wrist movements, elbow movements, joint movements, legs, everything. In fact, the robot can jump. If you have a surface like this, it can keep leg also like this. Otherwise, straight, it can jump in the steps also. It can perceive the steps by sensors and it can jump in the steps also. It can run. So they said, our robots can go into forest, even in the middle of fire, it can go. Even if there are lions and tigers all around, they have no fear in the forest. Because if a human soldier goes, he may be eaten by a lion or something, correct? No? So they were very happy about these robots as they were making. Suddenly they found out one thing. What is it? They said, if these robots are hacked by our enemy, then the robots will turn around and attack us only. They will shoot you. They said, what is the use of this? These robots have no loyalty. If an Indian soldier is caught in Pakistan, he will immediately consume cyanide and die on the spot. Because he will never release any secrets of his country. He has his loyalty. But the robots have no loyalty. Robots have loyalty to the person who is controlling it. Either you or your enemy. That because it is dead, like money is in my pocket. So I can use the money to trouble somebody. But if this money goes into my enemy's pocket, you can trouble me. It's like that only. That's why we should know the difference between, see, a living body undergoes 6 changes, while matter only dwindles, depreciates, that's all. For example, here you see, everybody is born, and then there is growth, maintenance, one becomes a teenager, then one gets married, then one becomes pregnant, one produces some byproduct children, then gradually the body dwindles, and then death. These 6 changes happen. In any living body, take a dog, take a cat, take a rat, take a tree, from childhood to boyhood to youth to old age, and then finally only skeleton remains. You can keep the skeleton in an anatomical laboratory, you hang it, that's all remains. And the soul leaves the body and goes. Whereas, you will never see a car grow. You'll never see a computer grow. Only a living body grows. That's one very important difference. Another difference, a male and female living body can come together and produce multiple similar species. For example, you can see here, a man and woman comes together and produce a baby. Dogs produce puppies. Birds also produce small offsprings. Cats produce their offsprings. Birds also. So wherever there's living body, they're able to produce offsprings. But you'll never see this one. A truck and a bus came together and produced a car. Machines don't reproduce. Only the living bodies can reproduce. And also, living body has consciousness, thinking, feeling, and willing. For example, all of you are hearing this class, and that video shooting is going on there behind. The camera is also hearing class. Camera will have no emotions. It is just recording the class blindly as a machine. If you appreciate one of you here, if you appreciate Professor Gajendra, you organize such a beautiful program. You see, immediately look at him, there'll be a smile on his face. Isn't it? If I scold somebody, there'll be a frown on their face. Because you all are sentient living beings. There's a spirit soul in your body. But machines have no emotions. These are the main differences, you see, between a robo and living body. So there are many, many researchers, near-death experience researchers in America. Dr. Michael Sapam has done. A lot of books are published also. See, so many books have come out. They are all scientific research books on OBE, and if you want to know more, there are many books. One book which I read was Reader's Digest published a book in 1996. I got a copy, bulky book. Um, they bring magazines, but yearly once they publish a big book. In that, they had shown one experiment where on the top of the loft they kept some objects like triangular prism, circular, and different objects they kept, and they put a man in the bed. So they asked him to come out of the body and see those objects, come back into the body, and then draw the pictures. He exactly drew it. Some people who could do that outer body experience. So there are many, many researchers done on this like this. How can somebody lying on the ground see what is there on the loft? Unless one is able to access them. Exactly, the three objects were kept and he exactly drew those three objects. So that was about the identity. The third one, T, is transmigration. This one lifetime is not all in all. Many more lifetimes exist. This is Dr. Ian Stevenson who did research on, several thousand cases of spontaneous reincarnation memories. There are many, many books published, more than 100 books published on the topic of reincarnation. Like you see, the old man is going into a door and coming out as a child, isn't it? So we are reborn. And in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, when you leave one body, the gross body is lying on the ground, but the soul covered by the mind is coming. And the mind is like a vehicle carrying the karma vasanas, punya karma vasanas and pap karma vasanas. Accordingly, you get the next body. I'll show you one.
All three, one, one,
Three, five, 7, 9, and last number is 10. You, you're a good boy. Give me answer. Quick. 1 plus 1. 3 plus 2. 5 plus 1. 7 plus 1. Now, give me answer. 5 minus 2. 5 minus 1. 5 minus 4. 6 minus 3. 7 minus 4. 8 minus 4. 10 minus 3. Very good. Good.
This is a dog from Lucknow. Yeah. So is it not amazing? So what do you think? How this dog is able to do the addition, subtraction, Huh? Yeah? By training? Oh, you say, I will show you how they train the dogs in America. I'll show you. The only training you can give.
Buses arrive on time, but it's the dogs that go to school.
The dog heard the commotion and dashed out the door. He looks forward to this moment every day. Next, you'll find out why they're in such a hurry to get to school. It's not just that. Every student loves this school. They'll find their own seats when they get on the bus. Teachers will fasten their seat belts. So what's a new student to do? Just give him something to eat along the route and find a new seat. The students will say hello to each other. Hello, why are you ahead of me today? When all the students are on the bus, the teacher will call the roll and give each student a snack. It's a tribute to their good behavior. The school's program is very rich. Students lined up to enter the campus when all the dogs are here. And then comes the moment they've been waiting for. It's like they've got a turbocharger on them. Dash into the pool. Have fun in there. But there are many dogs who don't like to swim. The school district provides them with a free-range area. The facilities are very rich. After 1 hour of free time, the dogs are starting to learn. In the classroom, they learn how to make less trouble for their masters. It's noon, and the students are back on the bus after lunch. The teacher will take them out into the field. Getting dogs close to nature keeps you in a good mood all day long. This is a great school.
That's all they can teach. Anybody observed what they're teaching in America to the dogs? Anybody heard it? Less trouble to master. They cannot teach any dog 1 + 1 = 2. If it is, see, if dogs are trainable, America will be the first country to train all the dogs. The dog which I showed you is an Indian dog and from Lucknow. And that dog was never trained. You can ask his master. He says that right from birth he's doing mathematics. Plus, minus, everything. So, how this dog is able to do this? There is a very great possibility he was actually some tuition teacher or something like that. He did some blunder. He got into a dog's body now. Correct, no? Yeah. Because the soul in the body has left that body and that mind is carrying still mathematical impressions. Correct, no? It's in the same manner you will see generally children speak in what age they generally speak generally? Children, Matajis will know it. Huh? 3? 2, at least 2 years. I will show you a 4 months child. Huh? You can see.
Namamishwaram
I met this child.
बता नमामीश्वरम सच्चिदानंद रूपम लसत कुंडलम गोकुले भ्राज मानम यशोदा भियोलुख लाब्दा वमानम परमृष्ट मत्यंत तो द्रुते गोप्या रुदंतमो हुर्नेत्र युग्मम भजन्तम करम भोज युग्मेन शातंक नेत्रम मुहुश्वास कंपात्रि रेखांक कंठम स्थितग्रैव दामोदरम भक्ति बद्धम इति दृक्स्वलीलाभिर आनंद कुंडे स्वघोषम निमज्जन्ते माख्या पयन्तम तदीयेषु तग्नेषु भक्ते जितत्वम जितत्वम होता जित्यम नहीं होता है पुनः प्रेम तस्तम शतावृत्ति.
Amazing, man. I met the parents and this child recently when I went to Kanpur. Just 4 months child, I can imagine. For this child to be able to recollect this Namamishwaram, this is Damodar Ashtakam, we call it. How many of you heard about it before? Yeah, you all know it, isn't it? So the child is recollecting the last word in just such a young age. Surely this child must have got the sanskaras from the previous life. Must have been a devotee in the previous life. And that impressions are going in the mind. So I showed you one bad karma vasana and pure karma vasana, correct now? One fellow, one jiva became a dog in the next life. Another one became a devotee child in the next life. Born to devotee parents. In this way, see, Ian Stevenson says, look at these 2 boys. They are born from the same egg. Genetically, they are same. Correct now? Children who are twins. But how many of you have seen twins behaving with totally 2 different opposite qualities? Any of you have seen that, correct, no? Just because they look the same, do they behave the same? No. And that's why Einstein Stevenson says that the egg has split into two. Genetically, they look the same. Because they come from the same genes, they have to behave also same. But if they're behaving differently, that means two souls have entered the two bodies. So like that he explains. So where do we go after this life?
So, what's through this door? Where do we go? Is it nothing?
One body to another. It goes to different species of life. Like I told you, soul is given a mind and a body. In the mind, you store your desires, and the body execute the desires. So Krishna says this. All of you repeat this verse. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam jatyante kalevaram tam tame vaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitah. He says, whatever state of being one remembers, Arjun, when a person quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. For example, here is Prahlad, divine Prahlad, and his father Hiranyakashipu was demoniac. So we all have the freedom to choose either to live a life in a divine manner or a demoniac manner. We all have both natures inside us, correct, no? It depends on which one you feed and which one you grow. And accordingly, our desires develop. And based on the karmic reaction, good and bad karma account. See, not only your desires are enough. Somebody may say, in the next life I want to be a billionaire. He cannot become billionaire because he needs punya for that. Just like I go to a shop and say, I want a pant and shirt, take me. And they take me to a place where 5,000 rupees pant shirt they give me. I may have only 2,000 rupees. So then they'll take me to another section and give me what will fit my pocket, isn't it? So, like here you see, the yellow one shows the soul's pure quality. But the red band shows the mind that is covering the soul with impure qualities. Here you see somebody is lusty, becomes a dog. Somebody is lazy, becomes a polar bear. So look at the polar bear, is dragging his body. 6 months he sleeps in a year. Somebody envious, he becomes a snake. So everybody, according to their mentality, they get a body. Let's look at this fellow. He is eating flesh and drinking blood. He wants a strong body. He can't pounce on a flesh. Only tiger can pounce. So he's given a tiger's body. Even human body is developing their consciousness. You can see that. See, this fellow is sleeping 12 hours a day. 12 hours a day means yearly how many months? That is equal to polar bear. Correct, no? So he's preparing polar bear consciousness. Yeah. So Lord Krishna says, strengthen your intelligence, who is the driver. And soul is a passenger, and the mind is the ropes, and your senses are horses. So if you want to control the horses, with the mind you have to control them. But strengthen the driver, who is intelligence, by studying the Gita. You start the Gita page by page. Every day read one page a day. Once your intelligence is strong, then you can control the mind and senses. Mind is fickle, senses are impure. But if you strengthen the intelligence, you can lead the horse carriage in the right direction. Look at this driver. Has he got control? No control. This is the situation of most people in the modern times. So you can change your conditioning written in the mind by 4 steps, very simple steps. ABCD. I'll show you that very soon. This is a mantra I was telling you before. There are maybe PhD theses also on the chanting of even schizophrenia, and such diseases are cured by chanting. There is a research thesis on that. Dr. Vivek Baluja, natural neurologist in Henry Ford Hospital, Detroit, has done the research. So, the aim of life is to purify heart by glorifying and chanting. There are two mentalities here. See, Ravana had exploiting mentality, Hanuman had service mentality. This is called bhoga vritti, this is called seva vritti. By adopting seva vritti, one can go back to Godhead. By doing the self-awareness, so many benefits you get. You get improved mental well-being, physical well-being, improved concentration and focus, reduced irritation and anger, frustration. You have better relationships. So many benefits. Greater inner peace, less stress and worry, uh, increased confidence. So many. So these are the three things. See, what is given in red? I am proprietor. Instead of thinking like that, one should think everything belongs to God. I am the boss and controller. Instead of that, think God is the boss. I am only servant. I am the enjoyer. Instead of that, one should know everything is meant for God's enjoyment. Look at this child want to eat the whole cake. See here? Huh? Yeah, he says the whole cake belongs to me. He says he has no big enough a mouth to put it in the mouth. So similarly, Duryodhana wanted to swallow the whole earth himself from the Pandavas. But actually, Yudhishthira Maharaj thought, I am only custodian of God's property. He thought like that. Here you see people try to control one another. You see, wife is saying, I told you in the morning to bring it. Husband says, shut your mouth. You never told me. So then it becomes a very unpleasant situation. You see. Or here you see a man, one side his mother is pulling, other side wife is pulling. Like Mridangam, you beat on two sides. So when there is a controlling mentality inside a house, it becomes a miserable home, correct? No? So one is this proprietorship mentality. I am the owner of everything. A rat is making a hole in a house and saying, this is my house, he says. And a man thinks, this house is in my name and paper. And Brahma thinks, this Brahmanda is mine. Everybody thinks it's theirs, but ultimately everything belongs to God. So in this world, proprietorship is a very common thing. You see, if I bring some bundi and keep in the room, after some time ants come and they claim to be proprietor. And you keep it under the hot sun, they will all run away. The proprietorship is finished after a short while. So proprietor, controller, see, this is the right mentality. I am a servant leader to empower my team members to become leaders. I am instrument of God to serve those in my care. Right consciousness. See these two kids. This kid has taken away all the toys and telling the other kid, get lost. So this is enjoying mentality. So these three can be purified by the chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So this is the ABCD formula. A for association. What type of books you read, what type of movies you watch, what type of music you listen, what type of friendships you keep, its choice is yours. There's the GIGO principle. Garbage in, garbage out, good in, good out. So take in good things, then good things will come out. A for association. So association most importantly means, here you all have Professor Gajendra and his good wife Shamla Gaurang Mataji here. And they are very, very devoted to their practice and very committed. And their home itself is like a temple. And they celebrate Janmashtami, they celebrate Rath Yatra, they celebrate Ram Navami, all festivals. And lots of people come here and they also cook prasadam for everybody. And they have kirtans. So you can come with your families and your wife and children also will get the company of other ladies and children. And you will get the company of other professors. It's a very wonderful opportunity for you to connect culturally, because I am traveling to many of the IITs in India. One thing with IIT is the land is sometimes 500 acres or 600 acres. Very huge campus, and it is oftentimes in a remote place away from the city. So for a professor, he is very intellectually awakened. So he will be very happy in the lab. He can actually teach in the college and he can go to lab and publish papers. And he is very joyfully situated. Only the wife and children oftentimes don't get opportunity for cultural connectivity, social connectivity. These type of programs, they give a platform for your family members also, your mother, father, wife, children also. Plus for you, in your life, you can be a scientist on one hand. On the other hand, you have to arrive at the goal of life, meaning of life, purpose of life. We may be uh, delighting in our intellectual titillation with the books, but that's not the ultimate goal of life. So one has to find out. So read one page of Bhagavad Gita a day. If anybody wants Bhagavad Gita, you have a copy, they can pick up. You can just pick up a copy of Bhagavad Gita. Just read one page a day, 5 minutes. Chant this mantra one round a day, 108 times. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So like this, we chant 108 times. It takes you 8 minutes or so, 8 to 10 minutes max. 10 minutes of chanting, one page of fire for 5 minutes, and once in a week program. This is what I am requesting you. And then this, nobody will deny this. Everybody will happily accept it. Isn't it? Sattvic prasadam. Krishna prasad. Basically, whatever you eat, you remember God for a moment and thank Him. Oh Lord, you are giving something which nobody can give. Like our advancement in science can give us electronic chips, not potato chips. Isn't it? Because all eatables come from Him. So we have to thank God and then eat it. That is called prasad. So you all will remember A for session, B for Bhakta, C for chanting, D for devotional diet. Yeah. That's it. Finished. Thank you very much. I can take 5 minutes of questions. Yes. Anybody?
Any questions, sir?
Or comments? Three things they can do. Either they can ask a question or they can speak a reflection also. In the points they heard, 4 points they heard today, they can speak a reflection. Or they can recollect one thing which is a takeaway for them, takeaway point for them. They may say that the last 1 or 1.5 hours what I heard, this one takeaway I liked very much. Like that they can say. Anybody? If you raise the hand, we'll send the mic to you. She has a question, yeah. Yeah.
So creator of
Yeah. Yes. The mic, yeah. Yeah. Ego means, she's asking the last element, ego. What is the ego? Ego is identity. For example, if one thinks I am fair or I am black, somebody thinks I am black, I am inferior. Somebody thinks I am fair, I am superior. Similarly, somebody thinks I am rich, then he becomes proud. Somebody thinks I am poor, he feels very inferior also again. Somebody thinks I am a topper in the class, nobody can beat me in this subject, I am always topper, he becomes proud. And somebody thinks, so I always get poor marks, I am good for nothing, they get inferiority complex. So this is ego because they are identifying with something which is temporary, which is not the reality. Because the soul is different from the body. But right now they are identifying with the body. For example, when you are in India, you say, Mera Bharat Mahan. But then you go to America, you find there are also many good human beings. Then you become more broad-minded. Like that. So your ego is not only that you are an Indian, you also think I am a human being. But prior to that, like there is one Subramania Bharati in Tamil Nadu, he says, whenever somebody says Tamil Nadu, honey flows in my ears, he says. Sendamai Nadanum Podinilai Inba Tenvandu Payadu Kadinilai. Like that he sang a poem. So when I went to Maharashtra, one boy told me, there one poet has written, when you say, Jai Maharashtra, honey flows in that fellow's ears. That means everybody thinks whose state is best? That one state is best because they have only state consciousness. That is ego, false ego. But then when they go to other parts of India, then they become more broad-minded. From the state, they go to Mera Bharat Ma. Yes. When they go to America, London, Australia, Canada, then they become more broad-minded, understand that all human beings are wonderful in many places. You become even more broad-minded like that. And then finally you understand that ultimately there is one supreme God and I am his servant. Then your ego becomes fully purified. There's no more false ego. There's true ego. I am Radheshyamdas or Krishna Das. I am servant of God. That is the correct ego. So ego has two aspects, pure ego, false ego. So true ego means I am servant of God and I am servant of the devotees. And false ego means I am boss on a boss. I am master of everybody. Think like that. About our identification. What do I think what I am? Like that, yeah. Like for example, now we are sometimes situated in a human body, sometimes in a dog's body. A dog thinks I am a dog. The cat thinks I am a cat. Actually, that body is a temporary machine given to them only for that life. Afterwards, they will leave the body and go to another. So basically, like Krishna says, don't identify with the body. It's ever-changing thing. Body is ever-changing thing. Identify in relation to God as a servant of God. Then you will always act according to His order. God says, do this, you will do it. Don't do this, He says, we won't do it. So the ego should be purified. Is that clear? Yeah. Actually, mind, intelligence, ego, all three are put together called Antakaran, we call it. Antakarana. The Antakarana is only one thing. When the Antakarana is doing likes and dislikes, it's called man. When Antakarana is discriminating and having Viveka Buddhi, it's called Buddhi. When Antakarana is identifying, I am this, I am that, it's called Ahankar. All three put together called Antakaran. So the Atma is covered by the Antakaran, and then outside this body you see. Just like the nariyal, if you see green nariyal, there is a fiber. Inside there is a shell. Inside there is coconut. Inside the coconut there is water. Similarly, the outer fiber is like the grass body, and the shell is like the subtle body, and the coconut is like the soul, and the water is like the love for God and the Krishna Prema in the heart of the Jiva. So, in the four items I told you, the fiber and the shell and the coconut and the water, which of the things you will keep with you, and which one will you feed into fire? Yeah, shell, fiber and shell you feed into fire, and the coconut is important, water is important. Similarly, the soul and the soul's love for God, that is very important. And the grass body and subtle body will be burned away eventually. Grass body is burned in every life. Subtle body will be burned when you attain moksha, when you liberate from this world, that time. So these two are finished, whereas the soul and his love for God is never finished. That is eternal reality. Is that clear to everybody? Yeah. Anybody else want to say a point? Any one example you remembered, or any takeaway for you? Yes, Mataji, please give it a. Yeah, you can.
What is the difference between moksha and mukti?
Good question. Like for example, if say somebody comes to Hyderabad, for example, they have reached Hyderabad, but if somebody comes to see Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman here, to this house, now they have come to the temple where they are seeing the Lord face to face, isn't it? Similarly, moksha means getting liberated from the material world. Like for example, a rocket has gone out of the Earth's gravitational pull, but it is hovering outside. It is not getting a planet to land anywhere. But mukti means you actually got a planet to land and you meet the Lord face to face. That's the difference. Moksha means you go from negative axis to 0, 0. And mukti means you go from 0, 0 to positive axis. So Krishna says, Janma bandha venir mukta padam gacchantanamayam. Two steps he's saying. First step is to get relieved from the material world and go to 0, 0. Where Shanti, Shanti, Shanti people attain. Jnanis, Jains, Buddhists, they all want to attain freedom from the cycle of birth and death. That is moksha. But after getting freedom from cycle of birth and death, what do you want to do? There is no activity at 0, 0. Then you go to the spiritual world where there is positive seva. And that is mukti. Mukti hitva anyatha rupam swarupena vyavasthiti. It is when you become situated in your eternal swarupa with the Lord to whom you are serving, that is called mukti. For example, let us say a husband and wife are quarreling, they are in negative axis. And husband and wife, they decide that wife goes to her parents' home for 3 months. Husband is here at home. Then they both are peaceful now because they cannot quarrel now. They are away now, isn't it? That is 0, 0. But then positive access means they come back together and say, now let us love each other, be respectful to each other, let us not quarrel. That is positive access. So which one you think is best out of the three? Yeah. Positive, correct, no? Positive. Same with friendship also. Like two friends, they're fighting. It's not sparks are coming, ego tussles are coming. But both are trying to boss each other. They can't be happy. But when they come to 0, they both, don't connect at all. You have seen people do that? When they look at them, they just turn and go away. Then that is 0, 0. But later on, they understand, this fellow is very important for me. I know him for the last 10, 15 years. I can't afford to lose the friendship. They both sit together and then they decide that let us make a good connection and communication and not quarrel and everything. They then become truly friendly, tolerating each other. And that is the positive axis. So similarly, in the negative axis, in the material world, we are all miserable, suffering. When you go to Brahma Jyoti, you get Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. But in Brahma Jyoti, bright light, you get Shanti and you are relieved from the pinch of cycle of birth and death. That's called moksha. But then when you go to the core of Brahma Jyoti is the Vaikuntha planets, where you meet Sitaram or Lakshmi Narayan, Radha Krishna. They exist eternally in the planets. Where you meet all the devotees, like Krishna, if you see, there are cows, there are calves, there are trees and birds and everybody all serving the Lord. Similarly, in Ayodhya, you find Lord Rama is served by everybody. So when you enter the Vaikuntha planets, there you see the Lord face to face. That is like the positive axis. So you connect with the Lord in love. So here there is misery, here there is peace, and positive axis is love. So love is the last word in transcendence. There's nothing beyond love. So when I went to America, in New York, in Brooklyn, I was giving a lecture. Many boys and girls were sitting. I asked them, which one is greater, love or peace? I asked. And peace got the maximum vote. Almost 99% of the people raised hand for peace. Then I asked love, only one or two were raising hand. I was shocked. Why do you all say peace is greater than love? Then one of them gave a response, said, oh, we have enough experience of broken love, they said. Then I understood, oh, you are talking about worldly love. Huh? But we are, in our class, what you are talking about is spiritual love. So the spiritual love is beyond peace. Huh? And peace is a subset of love. Huh? So that is mukti. Whereas going to 0, 0 is only moksha. You see, Jains, Buddhists, Nirvisheshwadis, impersonalists, they all talk about going to nirvana or shanti shanti. They don't know what activity soul does after liberation. Correct, no? Like, for example, if somebody says, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, what is the meaning of that? I am not this body, I am not the mind, I am spirit soul, Aham Brahmasmi, I am spirit soul, they're saying. But one should not only say Aham Brahmasmi, you should act on the platform of Brahman. Correct, no? For example, somebody graduates from IIT and says, Aham Engineer Asmi. Okay, you are engineer, but if you are a computer engineer, do the work. You should act as an engineer. And that is so acting as an engineer or acting as on the Brahman platform, that is like Bhakta. Bhakta means filled with activity. Here you see they have deities, they have dressed the deities, ornamented deities, they cook prasad for all of you. They do kirtan, they do festivals. So Bhakta means he acts on the platform of Brahman. Jnani means he just reminds himself that I am different from the body. So why he keeps reminding I am different from the body? Because he's afraid that if I think I am body, I will again have to be born. So Jnani's focus is to get rid of the birth and death. Bhakta's focus is not that. Bhakta's focus is I already know I am away out of the body. I have to serve the Lord. Clear, no? Yeah. We have taken many questions, but I wanted at least one point from some of them. Yes?
So, can we say that love is peace or
Outcome of love is
peace?
Yeah, that is true.
See, right?
Yeah, you experience extraordinary peace, Naishtiki Shanti, everlasting peace. And you feel bliss, we call it. Bliss actually is the joy that you feel in loving relationship, correct? No? Like, for example, when you come home, I remember when I was in engineering college, I would go after 6 months to home. And I would go home in the window only, I will call my sister's name or my father, I will call. And they would open the door and come running and we go and meet. You can see how much joy we feel when we come to our home. Even in this home, which is 80, 100 years home, is so joyful. How much more that home must be joyful. So the exchanges that happen between Lord and the devotees is all explained in Ramayana, Mahabharata, when we Srimad Bhagavatam. So we get a glimpse of that in these books. And when we practice it, we ourselves can experience it.
Very nice presentation. Really enjoyed it. So we discuss about this soul, right? And it remains in the body from the birth to the death, right? So that's fine. At a higher age, it leaves the body. But what happens in the case of accidental death? Sometimes we see that
if somebody dies in an accident, for example, say the person was his tenure was say 80 years, but he got an accident at 30 or 35, and he passed away. That means that the rest of the period he has not yet, lived in that body, and he left the body prematurely.
Right.
So then he has to be reborn in a family where he will spend away that balance period. And in certain cases, they become ghosts also. They become ghosts. What is the ghost? Ghost is a body with mind, soul with the mind, but has no gross instrument. So without the gross instrument, he cannot give shape to his desires. For example, I have a microprocessor, but no servo motors. It's like that. So therefore, what the relatives will do, there are many pujas to be done for them to relieve them from the ghostly body and accept the next body.
Okay. So does this mean that if someone leaves the life midway, then chance of being a ghost is more than...
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Therefore, one should not commit suicide. Because if somebody commits suicide, it's like company is giving you a car, but somebody takes a cricket bat and breaks the glasses, then company will take back the car and give a Luna. Because you're misusing car, we cannot afford to give you a car. Similarly, nature will not give them a human body if they abuse the body.
Okay.
Because the body should be utilized, Shariram Kaladharma Sadhanam. It's used for awakening love for God. So one should not abuse, because some boys are abusing body because they have no knowledge. Just sheer ignorance, actually.
Okay.
That was a good question, yeah.
Thank you.
Any takeaway? Any of you? Yeah, there is a hand up.
I want to share a small story.
Sure. Give the mic to.
Like you mentioned about in this life, it is also important for us to practice.
Yes.
So there, I read a story about twin brothers. You mentioned example of twin brothers.
Yeah.
So there were two brothers like that. One was very holy, and another was always involved in sinful activities. And then one day, what happened is this good person, the good brother, he was going on the way, and he was bitten by a snake.
Okay.
And then he became unconscious, but luckily there was a Vaidya who was passing by, and he saved the life of this brother. And the same parallelly, this other sinful brother, he was going through a forest. He in the night he stayed, and wherever near the tree he was staying, he found a box of gold.
Okay.
So then this happened. Then once this good brother regained consciousness, he thought of the chain of events, and he was a little disturbed. I am doing such holy practices daily,
Correct.
and I was almost about to die. But my brother, who is always doing sinful activities, he got a box of gold. And then in that village, one saint had come. So he went to the saint and he asked, Maharaj, this is what has happened, and I feel very disturbed. Should I keep following these good activities? Will any good come out of it? And then the sage replied, you see, what had happened is, I don't know how the sage knew about their past life, but what he said is, actually, in your past life, you had done a lot of bad karmas. But because in this life, you are practicing all the spiritual activities, actually, you were supposed to die. But you were saved because of the karmas that you have been doing now. And your brother was actually supposed to be an emperor. But he got only a box of gold. So that's why I thought this was very much in line what you mentioned.
Good, very good. Thank you. So every action we do, it goes into our account called Sanchit Karma. And then gradually the results unfold over a period of time. What you said is wonderful. Thank you. Yeah. So I wanted to get at least a few points from the mouths of the newcomers who attended for the first time today. You can give the mic to them. One point. What was the most important takeaway for you today? Anybody? Give the mic to them. Other older devotees need not answer, but I am looking for from those who are attending first time. Yes. Just one point. What you learned a lot of things today. Huh?
Like our student, we asked.
Yeah, correct. Yes.
So I like everything, whatever happened.
Out of that everything, one thing you can say. Any one thing? You can tell the acronym. You remember the acronym GITA?
Yeah. That is, first one is God.
Yes. And second one, I?
That is
Identity, yeah. Identity. I am spirit, soul. That means the body is not all in all, soul exists. And then T? Transmigration. This one life is not all in all, many more lifetimes exist. And A? Aim of life. The aim of life is to purify our heart and go back to God. Yeah, thank you. So any striking example was striking for you? You heard many examples today. Yeah, you can think if you wish. I can ask the others to answer till you come back. Okay, anybody else? Any one point?
I'll share it.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, any one point? Any of? You heard about the soul. You can even say you saw many videos also. I showed many videos.
So, Prabhuji, the takeaway for me was, you very nicely summarized, or you started with Gita and all that God, identity, transmigration, and aim for life. And then at the end, you said ABCD. So that is.
You remember that A for?
Association.
B for?
B for Bhagavad Gita.
C for?
Chanting.
D for?
Right.
And D is not just diet, devotional diet. And then E for ABCD. Good, you recollected very good. Very nice. Thank you.
So, second thing I want to ask Prabhuji that you talked about this when we talk, for example, to Nirvisheswadi or Advaitvadi, they say that it's not only Shanti we are like, our aim is not just the Shanti, we are misinterpreted. They say it's also Ananda.
Their Ananda comes from relief from the cycle of birth and death. They say that.
So they say it's like nature of the soul is Satchidananda. So when we attain the soul nature or at the end, it's Shanti plus Ananda. So, I mean,
say for example, if I call you and I pinch you all over your face, you will feel pain. I tell you, please, now you go back to your seat, I will not pinch you. Have I given you happiness? I have relieved you from your some pain. But imagine if I call you and give a vati of 4 gulab jamuns floating in a golden liquid with a spoon. Sir, please eat this gulab jamun. I am giving you happiness. So giving happiness is different from relief. Correct, no? You can ask them, when you get rid of the cycle of birth and death and you go to the Brahman stage, they think they become God.
Right.
Correct, no? As God and soul are one in quality, but different in quantity. Like, gold and ornaments, earrings and nose rings are also gold. Gold mountain is also gold. But this cannot be gold mountain. God is like gold mountain. We are like a small ornament. But they misidentify themselves to be God.
Right.
Can any of us say we are God?
No.
God is supreme. Like, Ahmedabad when I had gone, when father and son came, I asked the father, what's your name? He said, Patel, he said. Later on I called the small boy, asked him, what's your name? I'm also Patel, he said. Hey, how both of you are Patel? Because he is senior Patel, he is junior Patel. He's a small Patel. Similarly, we are Atma, God is Paramatma. He's great. We are Brahman, he is Parabrahman. Correct, no? So, even I was into impersonalism before coming to this organization. I had read many, many books from various organizations until I came to understand this. But it is an ongoing research in the field of inquisitive spiritual research. We can keep doing that. And if you come for these classes, you will understand all these things very well. You're most welcome. Thank you. Yeah. Anybody else want to say one point? Any other professor?
So, Prabhu, I learned that we are dependent on the God. God is not dependent on us, but we are completely dependent on Him.
Perfect. Thank you. And then here, anybody else? It's our professor, our dean of student affairs.
I like the ABCD.
Yes, yeah. So you all have captured the concluding point very well. Very good. And what did you learn about the transmigration of soul from one body to another? What is the basis of that? I mean, what body one gets? I showed you 2 videos of one dog and one child. What did you understand from that?
If you couldn't fulfill the previous birth, then he may have.
He has to take another body. Because take another body, but all of you have got wonderful human body now. And that too, you have a very divine mindset. So much so that you all have come for the class today. So you're fortunate. What you must have done in the previous life because of which you are here now. What do you think? Certainly you must have done something devotional. Krishna says that in Gita, Purvabhyasena teneva grete hi Abhishap says. But if somebody has done sinful activities, then they go into animal bodies also. What's the difference? I don't want to delay all of you any further. 5 minutes again to Kirtan. Mridanga, who plays Mridanga? I can play also. So we will do 5 minutes Kirtan and we will conclude. Also, I wanted to show you my email ID. If any of you wish to write to me, you are most welcome. You can write to me. In the subject, you put IITH, you put. So I will know. I get, I reply almost 50-60 mails every day. So if you have any queries, you can write to me. Most welcome. So, in the middle of my presentation, you can remove this one. I showed you how the chanting of the mantra reduces depression. I am going to show the Maha Mantra in this. Because many of them are new, they need to see the mantra. So, chanting of the Maha Mantra reduces depression, reduces stress, it relieves you of the bad habits and addictions, he says. So, it's a very easy method of purging the impurities of the mind. It calms the mind and forms positive patterns in the mind and makes you feel very joyful and cheerful, even while living in a stressful world around you. So, now you put Hare Krishna, color slide. Hare Krishna slide you put. How to open this one? Yeah. Yeah. Hare Krishna slide. Yeah. Hare Krishna. No, slide your bit.
This one.
Yeah. It keeps moving. 1 minute. I'll show you another one. So, while singing this mantra, you sing after me and you just try to hear the sound vibration without letting the mind wander here and there. Just hear the sound. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Oh, another mridanga, huh? Oh, you know how to hit it? Okay. Let us see. This also.
Should I heat this one?
You can heat and bring it. You know how to heat it, no? Yeah. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everybody together, please. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki. So I heard that Professor Gajendra is going to organize some program regularly for all of you. How many of you are coming for the first time here? You can just raise your hand today. First time you have come here? First time? Very good. You also come for the first time. You also? Yeah. So here every week they have a program for the senior devotees who have been coming for probably more than a year.